into modern energy needs. The only question is how fast can we introduce a new industrial sector producing technologies for harvesting renewable energies.
Solar energy provides new jobs and new ideas. Christoph Köhler has found a new profession. He's now a solar roof investor. He took out a €10 million loan and now drives around the country all day long in search of roof space to rent on which he can install solar cells.
We are always searching about roofs like this, and it's interesting for us the type of the roof and the pitch, the alignment, and of course the owner of the roof. We rent this roof from the owner for 20 years and get near 50 cents per kilowatt hour.
For 20 years?
For 20 years, it's a guarantee.
By the government?
By the government, yes.
So that's a good business.
This is a really good business because the return of invest is near after 15 years.
The introduction of the feed-in tariff laws are the key to Germany's success. There, by law, grid managers must adapt their systems to allow investors to make money from the production of solar electricity. Innovation and the ultra-fast development of Germany's solar energy industry has been the result. Germany is now one of the largest solar cell manufacturers in the world. But that didn't happen on its own.
It was an intellectual debate. It was a debate in the first years to contradict to all the underestimations, to all the to contradict to all the energy experts. The energy experts are a part of the problem. That's my experience. And it was necessary to contradict them, to show that they are wrong, to show that they create myths, to show that they give intentionally disinformations in order to block any consideration consideration about an alternative. This was the first period. And then to create a fantasy, what could happen and what would be the benefits to shift to renewable energies. And this mobilized many people.
This is a really good building. Look over there. There's a lot of space. It's a farm building, and a lot of farmers want to rent out this kind of roofs. We ask them at the fence. We stop at the car and say, hello, you want to rent out your roof? And this kind of roofs are not so good. This is optimal, but it's my own.
Köhler is able to invest partly because Scheer also introduced a separate subsidy program for 100,000 solar panel roofs. It was an idea that even went too far for Greenpeace.
The Greenpeace organization proposed a 50,000 roof program. And then they were asked why they don't support my 100,000 roof program proposal. They said it is not realistic. And but I succeeded in getting a decision, a majority for the 100,000 roof program, nevertheless. Although some in the party board of the SPD said why we should be more radical than Greenpeace. My argument was we should think about the industrialization of that. This is not the concern of Greenpeace, but we should look about clean energy and new jobs, new industry. We must have a broader view. And therefore, we must have a broader program.
Munich. More than 700 companies from all corners of the world have gathered for the biggest solar trade fair ever. Last year, the trade fair was held in Freiburg, but it's since doubled in size, so only Munich is big enough to hold it now. Halls full of the latest solar technology gadgets. Solar energy is hot, sizzling hot. And companies are seeing explosive growth, like SunPower, for instance, which produces high-performance black solar cells.
Our company has been growing extremely rapidly, much faster than the market as a whole over the past few years. This technology was commercialized first in 2004, and during that time we've taken our revenues from about $10 million in 2004 to projections of about $1.4 billion this year. So extremely rapid growth, tripling for the last 2 years. It's been a lot of work.
Solfocus is a similarly growing company, and it has a new technology. It started producing large-scale systems using cheap mirrors made of glass and aluminium to concentrate sunshine onto more expensive, very high-performance solar cells. This drastically reduces the cost of solar energy. They envisage a huge market.
It is a big economy. I mean, even if you look at what's already been done, I mean, I think today Germany has more jobs in the renewable energy world than they have in automotive and engineering together. So to me, it's already proven it's a viable world.
The number of things you need to think about, and we found that you can reduce installation time by as much as a half and get on and do more systems and make more profit.
As solar energy approaches the cost parity with fossil fuels, you're not looking at a solar industry, you're looking at an energy market, which is huge. So what you're seeing is for a while now, the technology has been moving at a pace where the efficiency's been crawling up and the costs have been crawling down. With what I would really call disruptive technologies, things like our concentrated photovoltaics or some other technologies out there, you're looking at a technology where you're changing that trajectory. You're now looking at efficiencies that can ramp at a very steep ramp and costs that can come down at a very steep ramp. And realistically, that can put this type of technology providing energy at cost parity with fossil fuels by 2011, 2012. The solution for solar is not to think about a few panels here, a few panels here. It's a field full of panels of arrays where you're producing clean energy instead of energy created by carbon-emitting processes. So I don't think the average person on the street really could fathom how big this industry could be. I mean, it's a gigawatt industry in the next 5 years.
The costs for renewable energies can only go down, because all costs for renewable energies are, with the exemption of biomass, only costs for technologies. Not any more costs for fuels, no costs for energy transportation, for infrastructures, primary energy transportation. That means no externalities at the same time. That means they can only go down because technology costs go down by mass production and running technological improvements. And the playroom for technological improvements is much larger with new technologies than with old technologies.
Just one single oil company has also been trying to grab a piece of the pie. But at the trade fair, they don't want to comment. Not surprising, considering the solar energy market seems to be slipping through their fingers. It's been taken over by the electronics industry that's learned that upsizing and mass production works. Applied Materials is one of the companies that supplies machines for the production of chips and solar cells. Mass production and technological innovation are the buzzwords here.
I think what we're seeing is a quantum leap of consciousness happening here about energy, where energy comes from,